Hey guys, good to be with you live once again for some quick, big late night updates on Connect versus True the Vote, the federal lawsuit. We got an update. Lawsuit has officially been filed against the alleged hacker, and the judge is doing what he can to force the identity of the alleged hacker out into the public. My question is why? We're going to look at what we know so far. But first and foremost, let's bring up a mainstream media headline because YouTube likes those and it protects my channel if I show a mainstream media headline. Here we have Washington Post playing catch up on the True the Vote story. Just a few minutes ago, they filed this report. True the Vote leaders sent to jail after contempt ruling by federal judge. The organization, which has pushed false claims about the 2020 election, had been sued by a software company that has alleged defamation. The leaders of True the Vote, an organization that has spread unfounded claims questioning the results of the 2020 election, were taken into custody Monday morning after a federal judge in Texas ruled them in contempt of court. Founder Catherine Engelbrecht and former board member Greg Phillips were escorted by federal marshals out of a Houston courthouse and into a holding cell following the judge's decisions. I wonder how the Washington Post knows that, because they were not in that courtroom, you guys. They must be stalking my coverage or one of three other reporters. There was no media there. It's crazy. Three little website reporters and me. The order, it says, marked the latest twist in a defamation case brought last month by Connect, an election software company that True the Vote claimed allowed the Chinese government to have access to a server in China that held the personal information of nearly 2 million U.S. election workers. Connect has vigorously disputed the claim. The judge overseeing the case, U.S. District Judge Kenneth Hoyt, had ordered Engelbrecht and Phillips to reveal the name of a person who allegedly helped True the Vote access Connect's computer system. And you guys know the rest. They refused to release that name, and now they are locked up in jail. This article goes on to question whether Catherine and Greg are doing all of this for money, or whether any of their claims are founded. Now, if you saw Dinesh D'Souza's Dinesh D'Souza's documentary on this, you probably, believe some of what they're dealing with. I mean, there was surveillance video in that documentary. Now, I want to get to you to some of the court documents that were filed today. A few big bombshells in the documents. First of all, we have this one filed in federal court today. This is the summons in a civil action. A lawsuit has been filed against you. I blanked out the name of the alleged hacker because I don't want to be the one responsible for sending whatever after this guy. I mean, I have not verified that this guy was indeed the hacker. The judge is doing what he can to put this man on blast, putting his name out in the open. And so I'm sure if you go to the Pacer public court records, you'll be able to see his name. But for now on my YouTube, I'm blanking out that guy's name. He is the named alleged hacker. He is the man that Greg Phillips says that he met in a hotel room in January in Dallas, January 2021, when he says he stuffed towels under the door so that they could quietly meet and look for 3 to 4 hours over computer data, several terabytes of data on election information that was stored on a Chinese server, according to Greg Phillips, that this man, whose name I blanked out, says he obtained through an open door on a server in China. Okay. So the lawsuit here says that this guy has 21 days to respond to the suit. So big update is that as of today, Connect software company is officially suing the alleged hacker, bringing this guy in to the lawsuit against True the Vote. They found an address They were trying to get True the Vote and Greg Phillips to confirm who this guy was, and they would not. But I guess they got enough info to track down an address. They think they have the right guy because there are several people in the world with this guy's name. So we'll see what happens. But the next thing the judge did today is put this alleged hacker on blast. The defendants, aka True the Vote, had requested that a photo of a possible alleged hacker be kept sealed in the court filing in order to not, you know, put whoever is in that picture on blast. And the judge today denied that request. So the judge, what's really interesting is in this short hearing this morning when Catherine and Greg got arrested, the plaintiffs, the judge literally brought this up himself again. No, like the defendants, the plaintiffs were not talking about this picture. The picture was shown on Thursday. Picture was out of the picture this morning. But the judge brings it back up and says, "Oh, by the way, that pic that we showed Thursday, hey plaintiffs, hey Connect, do you want to make that public?" And Connect said, "No, no, 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 we want to keep it sealed." So literally the defendants and the plaintiffs want to keep the picture of the alleged hacker sealed, and today the judge by himself ordered that it be unsealed. Why? When this picture was presented in court, both Catherine and Greg said, "We're not sure if that's the hacker. We're not sure who that is." So, what if they're unsealing a picture of a random guy with the same name? I don't know. If I get a hold of that picture, I'm not posting it because whatever media posts that is under threat of lawsuit from whoever that guy is. And I think that's why some of us, I haven't checked all the media, maybe some of them have posted his name by now, but I think most of us are respecting his privacy, partially because we can get sued for posting something, and recklessly accusing someone of something. But the judge is doing what he can to try to get the media to put this guy on blast, the alleged hacker who tapped in the Chinese server. Why? Why? Catherine previously said on Thursday this guy is in hiding with threats against him. So the third exhibit that was filed in court today is order for confinement pending compliance. This is the official order by the judge to have Catherine and Greg arrested. You can see page 2 of this. Right there it says, "Therefore, the defendant Greg Phillips and Catherine Engelbrecht are ordered detained by the U.S. Marshal for 1 day and further until they fully comply with the court's order as set in the temporary restraining order." So who knows how long they'll be in jail if they do not cough up the names. But nevertheless, the judge and the prosecution, or I mean the plaintiffs, this is not a criminal case, the judge and the plaintiffs are doing what they can to track down the identity of at least the alleged hacker on their own. Because remember, there was a third party in the courtroom. That's the guy they really want the name of. And they're like, "Why will you release the name of the alleged hacker, but that third guy in the room, you will not release his name?" All we know is that Greg Phillips says this man is an FBI confidential informant, and that he works along the U.S.-Mexico border and deals with cartels. And if his name is released, he will be likely taken out by the cartels. That's Greg's story. The judge is not believing Catherine and Greg's stories right now, and he wants to know who that guy is. He's going to keep Catherine and Greg locked up until he finds out. In the meantime, they're tracking down the first guy in that hotel room, the hacker, the alleged hacker. So here's the last filing. Judge is going to charge Catherine and Greg $85.61 a day to be housed at Joe Corley Detention Facility every day until they complete what the judge is asking them to do, which is release an identity or several identities. So $85 a day until they get released from jail. We shall see what happens. Also, there was a statement put out by True the Vote. So True the Vote was supposed to go live. Catherine Engelbrecht was going to go live on locals at 6 Central tonight. She was praying to God that something would happen to prevent them from getting arrested. Yet they have been arrested. So instead of Catherine appearing on locals, it was one of her employees. This woman was also in court. I met her in court today and Thursday, and here's what she had to say.
Read the statement that we've prepared, okay? True the Vote calls for the immediate release of founder Catherine Engelbrecht and contractor Greg Phillips, who were jailed for contempt today for refusing to deliver to Connick the name of the third party who was present at a presentation of evidence of Connick's wrongdoing. This evidence was provided to the LA District Attorney's Office in their investigation of Connick, which resulted in the arrest of CEO Eugene Yu. True the Vote attorneys are expediting an appeal seeking to have Engelbrecht and Phillips released. Catherine Engelbrecht said, "Trust, honesty, and respect will always be our highest values regarding both our work and our lives. As a result, we will be held in jail until we agree to give up the name of a person we believe was not covered under the terms of the judge's TRO. We ask that you keep us in your prayers. Thank you to those who continue supporting and believing in us and our mission to make elections safe for all parties and all people. Ever onward." Thanks, everyone.
So they are, it sounds like True the Vote and Greg Phillips are standing their ground on principle that the judge is overreaching in his request to know certain identities, because if they just cough up any random identity the judge says could be a part of this, they could just keep on going. I mean, the judge already hinted today that, like, look, I don't even know if it was 3 people. You say it was 3 people in the hotel room. It could be more. So who knows if they release this third person, if the judge will say, okay, now we're going to go on a witch hunt for another person. And the judge just keeps doxing people. It sounds like from her statement there that they're standing on this principle that they believe that the name that the judge is demanding they release is outside of the context of this lawsuit. What Greg Phillips said is that this third guy was not the person who obtained that data from the server. He was just a third observer there. So therefore, he's not really a part of this, but the judge is saying, no, we need to know the identity of every single person who saw that data because they believe that data was illegally obtained. So, depending on this lawsuit, I mean, this could turn into a criminal case against Catherine and Greg. Right now, it's just civil in regards to defamation. Checking your comments. Hoyt has been compromised by either the feds or China. At this point, I just don't know, says Matt. It is strange. I'm kind of wondering what the judge's incentives are as well, because the judge kind of gives himself away. I understand that, like, if you read the Washington Post, some people are wondering, are Catherine and Greg, they make these wild claims, but where's the cold, hard evidence that they are bringing to the table? And of course, Connick doesn't want that cold, hard evidence brought to the table. But the judge wants to see that cold, hard evidence himself to know that Catherine and Greg are not making wild claims to make money. But so I was like, maybe that's why the judge is being this weird. But the fact that the judge will not even acknowledge that Eugene Yu was arrested on the exact same accusations that Catherine and Greg we're making it kind of gives away the judge. The fact the judge won't even acknowledge that, which totally vindicates Catherine and Greg. The fact that the judge won't acknowledge that gives him away. It makes you really feel like this guy is compromised or extremely biased. If you have a backdoor key legally, is it hacking? Apparently, there was information out there that the default password was out in the open for tapping into this information. So it sounds like recklessness on the part of Connect, and it just seems like an open-minded judge would consider that perhaps it was recklessness on the part of Connect and not defamation on the part of True the Vote. Although, and recklessness is putting it nicely, right? I know a lot of people are saying, no, this is extremely intentional. But that's not the case for the judge. So interesting times. Just checking your comments. Thanks for tuning in. And getting lucky with a default password isn't hacking. Yeah. So it's like, some people, I ran into one reporter there today who actually said he thought that this was a setup. Perhaps Catherine and Greg had been set up. What if a default password was put in front of them or their person and they were set up to illegally obtain data so that then they could be come after and thrown in jail? Some people fear that. Who knows, guys? Godspeed is right. So we'll continue to watch this case. Send me your questions if you want. Thanks for supporting my independent journalism. You can check all my links down below. Not only do I have all my different social media, if for some reason the stuff gets deleted off YouTube, I pray to God it doesn't, but this is a touchy subject on YouTube. I've got my Rumble and BitChute links down below. I've also got my donation links. Anything helps to support my independent journalism right now, especially in this economy. And look, if I were still working for my former employer, Fox, neither I nor anyone at Fox would be covering this. Fox is ignoring this. Do you realize how much impertinent election stuff Fox absolutely ignores? Elections are the most sacred thing to cover, yet Fox is turning a cowardly blind eye to this very important topic. I am so glad I left that corrupt company. Fox used to be my dream company, but I left them, and I appreciate you guys supporting my independent journalism as I now venture out on my own covering these things. With that being said, I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and talk to you guys tomorrow.